Okay, so yeah, now I hope you are able to see me again on the video and
Yes,
hear
sir.
me and see me as well. Yeah, thank you. Okay, good afternoon all. Good afternoon everyone. So let us get started. So I mean, uh, even I know that there are some difficulties with the online format because I mean, not only the students, even the instructors are not we have. I mean, we are got we. I mean, we are used to this format, so like I expect some challenges compared to that of the offline format. So we'll try to ensure the way we meet in the offline format, we will be going ahead with the same type of, you can say, the methodology of transferring the knowledge. But do stop me anytime if you feel like if you have any issues or if you have any concerns. One more small request: if you do not intend to speak, please keep your microphones on mute. Okay, because otherwise, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, if it is turned on, maybe a lot of noises will be hearing, and also we'll get to know what are you preparing for your dinner. Okay, so this we do not want to happen. So you can keep your microphones on mute unless you intend to speak. If you want to speak, do stop me at any time. Okay, I'll be taking frequent pauses. Do not get irritated. Okay, so when we take frequent pauses, again, because I'm not able to see all of you, because if you are knowing that, if you do not know, or if it is very obvious, or if you are sleepy, okay, I cannot be able to see that. So I'll be taking frequent pauses to check if you are uh, following it or not. And also, someone, if you want, you can actually turn on the captions. If you know, there is an option in this Google Meet. So below that, with the CC, you can see that turn on captions. If you turn on that, whatever I'm speaking, it will be converted to the text format and it will be shown there, so that we will be synchronized, like everyone would be synchronized. Okay, so a quick yes if everything is okay for now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So let us begin with GS2. So before we go into GS2, maybe some of you might be having the knowledge of the UPSC exam, the format, or the prelims, mains, and the personality test, the three stages. So please stop me if you want me to have a quick, if you want to have a quick understanding of the format of the examination. Or if you are clear about the format, we are directly going into the general studies too. Otherwise, I can take some pause and explain you on the examination strategy. Please do stop me if if you wanted to know about the exam. Okay. Otherwise, I'll expect that you all know the format of the exam, the number of papers. So I mean, feel free to stop me, pause me, ask any questions. Okay. So this is the only way you can get those doubts clarified. So stop me if you have any questions. Or if we are, I mean, if everyone is okay, we will move forward with the GS2. Otherwise, I'll take maybe 10-15 minutes to explain you about the examination format. You want me to tell about the exam format, the way exam is, or
So yes, sir, if you don't mind, please.
yeah, it's completely fine. So yeah, so just let me, I do have another presentation. Let me show that. Yeah, I hope you are able to see the other slide, which is talking about the services,
Oh,
right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So we do have multiple services through this examination. Like the administrative service, foreign service, police service, railways, like Group A as well as Group B services. So this exam, though it is conducted for recruitment into services, this is often called as Indian Administrative Service exam. So that is technically incorrect because this is an entrance exam for multiple services. Because of the sheen of this particular service, Indian Administrative Service, it is often interchangeably used as IAS examination. But we should know that it is called Civil Service Examination, that is the official name. Though there are different other services, this exam, the format, like starting from the prelims, mains, and personality test, it has been designed keeping in view the administration. Though there is foreign service, police service, here in this examination, we will be administration part. Though it is the intake for multiple services, we do have the administrative service. Again, partly it is because of the, you can say, the British rule where the Indian civil services were the only service where they were entering into multiple other fields. So we have kept a similar administrative setup in India even after independence, where in almost all the sectors we will see that it is the Indian Administrative Service officials at the top positions. So even if you go to Ministry of Home Affairs, okay, it is not the topmost IPS officer, it is the IAS officer who would be the secretary generally. Okay, so that is why there are, you can say, concerns in the other services that the IAS is taking a lead role in all this. So that is a different story. We will come back to this, why IAS is the most sought after service. So in theory as well as in practice, we will see that there is a domination of Indian Administrative Service in all of the other services. Okay, so but I have seen students who specifically opt for police service as their first choice, or maybe foreign service as their first choice. Okay, so it completely depends upon the student to student, but this is the generally the order. Again, I do not have any, a special preference for those students who are opting, but in general, the service preferences for the students would be in similar order, like maybe IAS, IPS, but individual choices might vary. Maybe someone wants to work with the audit service, maybe that could be a prime, this one. So there are examples, there are cases, but in general, this is the format, like they first opt for administrative service. Okay, so can anyone tell me what post you will be getting once you clear this examination? IAS, what is the job? Yeah,
Sir,
good.
in IRS
In
assistant commissioner.
administrative, in police, ASP, okay, good.
Additional SP, sir.
And in foreign service, can anyone tell me?
Yep, something is called as something equivalent to the SP rank,
No.
which is in forest service.
Yeah,
I
forest
don't know
service is
the
something different.
name.
So this is foreign service. So forest service, the prelims exam would be same, but the mains exam would be different for forest service. But here it is IFS, that is foreign service, Indian foreign service.
Like
Yeah,
a
diplomat is a high post,
diplomat.
diplomat, high commissioner, or you can say the foreign secretary. They are very high level posts. So what is the entry level post? Any idea?
Yes.
Okay, so what I suggest is take this list. Okay, you can take a screenshot or you can find it in any of the official notifications. Go through that, find out what is the post you are going to get, what is the entry level post, and do you know something about that post? Because when you go for personality test, okay, so if they ask what are the functions of a IAS officer, or what are the functions of a SDM, subdivisional magistrate, if you do not know that, that is not going to give a good impression to the examiner or the interviewer. So I suggest make a list of all the services. Just beside that, write down what is the entry level post you will be getting and what is the top post you will be getting. So for example, IAS officer, can anyone tell me what is the highest post a civil servant can get in India? Yeah, very good. Cabinet secretary.
Cabinet secretary.
And foreign service, it is a foreign secretary. It is a foreign secretary.
High commissioner.
And IPS,
Okay.
any idea? No.
Commissioner.
No.
DGP,
DGP at the
IGP.
state level. DGP at the state level, at the highest IPS officer, the topmost IPS officer is DGP in the state level. But no,
DIG.
no, IG comes below the DGP.
DC.
No, no.
Deputy
Any
Commissioner.
other guess at the union level?
Sir,
Not exactly.
defense
Defense is
advisor.
something different. Policing is something different. Okay, it is Director IB, Intelligence Bureau. Okay, the topmost IPS officer would target for Director Intelligence Bureau, and the entry level is I mean, one level below the SP. Okay, in different states they do have different terminologies. So in the similar way, try to make out like what is the entry level service you will be getting and what is the topmost service you will be getting, and try to find out what is the roles and responsibility as a subdivisional magistrate, as a ACP, Assistant Commissioner of Police. So you should be knowing something about the job role before you. It's just like any other interview. Before you apply, you should know what is the roles and responsibilities. Okay, what you are going to perform. In the similar way, I suggest make a list of all the roles and responsibilities, at least for top 3 preferences you have. Okay, at least for top 3 preferences you have, you should be having an idea on that. Then coming to the eligibility. So broadly, this is the eligibility. So nationality, in general, Indian, but for few other services, the citizens of Nepal, Bhutan, and Tibet are permitted. I hope we all only have Indian students here. If not, do let me know, or you can check in the official notification. And the age limit is 21 to 32 years. Again, this is for general category, and they have given the time frame. You should be born between this one, and again, if you belong to any different category apart from general category, there are relaxations. Okay, so if you belong to any other category, or if you are belonging to a period not mentioned here, that is 87 August and 98 August, so you have to check in the official notification where you have any eligibility or not, okay, to write this examination. Then coming to the educational qualification, a degree, or you are expected to get your degree result by the time you go for the next level of the exam, by the time you go for the mains examination. Then the number of attempts. So for general category it is 6, for other categories like OBC it is 9, and for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes it is unlimited number of attempts. And coming to the restrictions, there are certain restrictions, like if you are already appointed to Indian Administrative Service, if you are already allocated cadre under these services, then you are not eligible to apply for the next phase. Okay, so this is something like, again, if you already have the service in your hand. Then there are certain physical standards which are specified, and if you think that you are having a question in any of this, so just below that I given the website link. Go through upsc.gov.in and go through the examination tab. There you will find out the previous notifications. So again, this is all as per prelims 2019, and do check the latest notification for 2020. Okay, and if you are applying for if you are targeting for 2021 and 2022, there could be some changes. Again, I at this stage I strongly recommend, do not you can say, do not consider any rumors. A lot of rumors might be floating around, okay, over the internet by multiple stakeholders, but I suggest do not go into all these rumors. Do not believe into all these rumors. Only go with the official notification of UPS. So any questions on this particular slide on the eligibility? Okay, thank you.
No, sir.
So be very clear on the eligibility, whether you are eligible or not. So before you apply for this exam, before you actually sit for this examination, so that is why I kept this slide. Then the plan of examination, it is a 3-stage process. Just let me change the slide. Okay, yeah. So it is a 3-stage process. The first stage is what we call it as preliminary examination, and the second stage is called the mains examination, and the third stage is called personality test. So it is a 3-stage examination. In these 3 stages, the final ranking would be decided only for mains and only by mains and personality test. That means whether you just pass prelims examination or whether you get the top marks in prelims examination would be irrelevant. That is why I put a star here. Star means it is a qualifying paper. That means only if you qualify these papers, prelims paper, then your further papers would be validated. Once you clear prelims examination, as I told you, just pass by border just above 1 mark above the cutoff, or if you get 200 out of 200 does not matter, because your final ranking would be decided based on 1750 plus 275, that is 2025 marks. It is the final ranking would be decided based only on this one. Now under this one, again in prelims examination we do have 2 papers. The first paper we call it as general studies, and the second paper we call it as CSAT. Again, in these 2 papers, this paper would be qualifying. The CSAT paper would be qualifying. Earlier, they used to count the marks of both the papers, but because there has been lot of protests saying that CSAT is giving an edge to the English medium candidates or candidates from maybe science and mathematics background. So that is why CSAT has been made as only qualifying paper. That is, only if you clear the CSAT paper, then your GS paper would be corrected. Again, within prelims only CSAT is qualifying, and in the overall format of the examination, prelims itself is qualifying marks. Okay, so do not get confused with this. So first is CSAT, the second only if you clear CSAT, then your GS will be corrected. So again I kept a star here, that is, this is a qualifying paper again compared to prelims. Now CSAT prelims, again the different faculty would be guiding you how to prepare for CSAT, but I suggest, just because you belong to engineering background or science background or mathematics background, do not consider CSAT to be very light. Okay, because I have seen students belonging to a very good academic background still not able to clear CSAT. It is not because they are not able to solve the paper, it is because they are not able to solve the paper within the time frame. Because generally what happens is we get used to the tough calculator. Okay, so even for simple calculations we depend heavily on the calculator, and we lose the practice of you can say targeting the questions, mathematics questions or reasoning questions. Okay, so I suggest, if you are very confident that CSAT would not be a hurdle, I suggest take 2-3 previous papers and try to solve within the time frame. Okay, so within time frame, that is 2 hours. So solving the paper within 2 hours would be very difficult even for the people who have already preparing for CAT or other competitive examinations. So it is not, the difficulty of questions is very less. So it is very easy compared to that of other competitive examinations, but at the same time it is time consuming, it is lengthy. So that is where I suggest do not take this very light before actually practicing this paper. Okay, so do have a look at this paper. Okay, then try to practice 2 or 3 previous papers, then you can come to the judgment that I do not require further preparation in this. Okay, so I'm just saying because of the past experiences. Okay, because some students, I know some students who could never even imagine that they have failed in CSAT paper. Okay, still they are in a dilemma that the correction is not good, or something like the questions itself are not correct. Okay, still they are not able to trust that they could not clear CSAT paper. It's not that I'm doubting their merit. Only thing is it is very lengthy. So unless you have very good practice in this one, do not take this very light. Now this GS paper is the deciding factor for your prelims paper. Now CSAT, I hope with little effort, or maybe if you belong to humanities background, a little more effort. With a little effort you should be able to clear CSAT. I hope every one of you would put that effort. Okay, and coming to this one, the deciding factor in prelims is paper 1, that is general studies. So generally the cutoff, I'll show the cutoff marks, how much they do in general. Okay, now once the prelims is done, you are going to the next stage, that is mains. So prelims every year, if you see, they are generally happening in the month of May. Okay, so May, June, okay, during this particular time the prelims would happen, and during the month of November we expect the mains to be happening. Okay, so this recently there has been some, you can say, the rescheduling of this exam, not this current year. Okay, this current year is exception. So but previous years, if you see the trend, earlier the mains would be in December, but last year they conducted in November, and I expect the trend to be followed in the coming years. So prelims may be somewhere in May, June, and you'll get the results somewhere in September, and the mains would be in December. So if you are a serious candidate, prelims exam should not be a hurdle at all, because you should target something like 150 marks, okay, above around 150 marks in prelims out of 200. So cutoff would be 100, 120, okay, between this range the cutoff would be 100 or 120. Now if you target like 150 marks, this should never be a hurdle if you are a serious aspirant. So target directly for the mains, okay, starting from day one. Do your preparation for mains itself. So your prelims should be like a cakewalk for you. Okay, for serious aspirants, they don't they just take this one as a need, but they will not focus much more on prelims separately. They always target the mains examination if you are a serious aspirant. And in the mains, you do have 1750 marks. In 1750 marks, it is divided between, so here you have essay, first one you have essay, you do have 4 general studies papers, then you have 1 optional with 2 papers. Earlier there were 2 optionals, but now we do have only 1 optional, but again with 2 papers, the same optional with 2 papers. Okay, so if you club all the 3, okay, 250 plus 1000 plus 1500, it is 1750. Again in mains, they do have qualifying papers, that is 1 Indian language, one of the official languages from 8th schedule, then English. These are the 2 papers you have to take as qualifying. Again, these are only for qualifying. Okay, only if you clear these qualifying papers, the others papers would be corrected. So as the same way, CSAT, do not take this paper very casually, because I know students who actually failed in this Indian language paper. Okay, because what happens is they take this for granted, this particular paper for granted, the Indian language paper for granted. Like they know that, okay, they think that, okay, I know Kannada, I know Telugu, I know Tamil, I know Hindi, okay, I can write. But when it actually coming to the academic part, writing something becomes more difficult. Because for example, there was one essay which came up in the qualifying paper. They have given an essay, and it need to be translated into the mother tongue or the Indian language. Now, when you're translating into the mother tongue or your Indian language, what happens generally is we do not pay much attention to the technical words. Like that essay was something related to production, distribution, or you can say manufacturing of the goods. Okay, when you are actually translating these words like production, distribution, manufacturing into your mother tongue, you will face the difficulty, because we generally use the English words for all this. Okay, so this is something I suggest. We might have the, you can say, the communication part. When we speak in our mother tongue, but when we actually write, it becomes very difficult, because after your schooling you might lose that, you can say, touch with your subject. Okay, so I suggest even here spend some quality time. Am I audible, please? Okay, hi. Hello all. Are you able to hear me again? Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Hello all. Am I audible? Yeah, thank you. And you are able to see my screen also.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Audible now.
You are able to see, right?
You
Okay,
able to
thank
see
you.
the PPT,
So there
sir?
was a power cut, like it's been a long time. Okay, and my UPS is ticking off. Okay, okay. Let us continue. So any questions till now? We were discussing. Okay. So we do have 1750 marks in the mains, and once you clear the mains examination, then there would be personality test. So this personality test would be for a 275 marks. So yeah, any questions on this particular slide? Okay, I logged in with the mobile.
There is some
There is no
disturbance in the
power
audio, sir.
here. Okay, it's been a long time. Yeah, it's clear. It's clear now. Okay, you are able to see the presentation as
It's
also,
clear now.
Yeah, it's clear now.
right? Yeah. Okay. 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 So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So as I told, the prelims examination and mains examination. So the prelims examination has got two papers. So one is the CSAT, the paper two, and general studies paper. So this is how the formatting of the paper is there. And the mains examination, we do have the Indian language paper, then four general studies paper, GS 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you have one optional subject with two papers. So it is only one optional subject, two papers. So in total, 750 marks for mains and 275 marks for personality test. So you do have lot of uh, optionals which you can pick from this. One of the optionals you can pick from here. So again, how to choose the optional, that is a different story. Maybe sometime later we will discuss upon that. Maybe for time being, you can look at the screen with different optionals. So what I suggest is choose the optional as soon as possible. And if you are in a dilemma which one to choose, so always look at the official website upsc.gov. Then go through the previous year exam questions, how they are being asked, and the syllabus. So then you'll get an understanding what is the, you can say, the preparation you actually have to go, I mean, put with. Okay, so that would be the best choice as of now, but pick your optional as soon as possible. So I think you got a basic idea of the examination format, or any other questions you have. I know if you are preparing for the first time, you might be having a lot of questions on your mind. Do let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I'll take it as a no then. So are you able to see the other presentation? Strategy for GS2. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yes, sir.
So the
Yes.
GS2 paper, this we will target for the mains, and as I told that serious aspirants target for the mains directly with a eye on the prelims. So we will see how the questions can be asked in prelims. We will look at that, but we will target the mains itself. Because if you see the syllabus for prelims and mains, you will see that the topics like governance, social justice, and international relations, they are not mentioned anywhere in your syllabus explicitly in your prelims syllabus. So when you are preparing for this, so many students would get that dilemma. Like the prelim syllabus is something different, main syllabus is something different. Because the same thing happens in your history or economy or any other paper. Like when you are preparing for history, you will not see post-independence history in your prelim syllabus. You will not see world history in your prelim syllabus. But the questions are asked. Okay. So when I suggest to the students, do not strictly compartmentalize the preparation. Try to prepare in a way for the mains itself so that your preparation would be all aligned to the needs of the examination. Okay, so this GS2 paper, okay, just a minute, I'm getting 2 pointers. Yeah, the GS2 paper, General Studies 2 paper, it is having the topics like polity, constitution, governance, social justice, and international relations. Now, what I believe is the GS2, this paper is at the center of your preparation. The General Studies 2 is at the center of your preparation, and the all other subjects, either you take GS1, GS3, General Studies 3, or General Studies 4, or even the essay, they are all derived from GS2 itself. In fact, UPSC wants to keep GS2 itself, but because the subject matter became too lengthy, it kept in GS1, GS3, and GS4. Now, as I told, you are going to become like an administrator. For administration, what is more important is the core of the topic. Now, if you see many topics like post-independence history or society and history, you are not reading history to become a historian. Always do keep this in mind that you are not reading economy to become an economist. You are reading history or geography or economics to understand more about administration. As I told that this examination is devised for Indian Administrative Service, though IAS is just another service among the 24 services. But the exam format or personality test or everything else is revolving around the way which is required for the administration. Now, yeah, my voice is breaking. Just give me 1 minute. I'll cut off my video and get connected to the Wi-Fi. I logged in through my mobile. Just give me 1 minute. Um, okay. I think there's a frequent power cut in my apartment. I don't know why. Okay, so maybe it's because of the internet connection, low internet connection. But am I audible? Is it only the clarity in the voice? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. Just bear for 5-10 minutes. I think the power has come. I'll try to connect with the
Yes,
Wi-Fi.
sir.
So I logged in through my mobile internet for now because the power is not stable yet. Okay, just give me 5 minutes. I'll get connected to the Wi-Fi in some time. Okay, and yeah, what I'm saying is the GS2 paper is the center for your preparation. Someone wants to speak? Please keep your mic on mute. If not, okay. So this is something like a center for your preparation. Now the GS1, which consists of topics like history, geography, and society, they actually create the roadmap for your GS2 preparation. Okay, so until you understand the history, until you understand the geography, until you understand the society, you will not be appreciating the challenges in the society. Now there is one topic like society in your GS1 paper, and there is the topic called social justice in your GS2 paper, and both are very much interrelated. So it is geography which shapes history, and it is history which shapes the society, and it is the society which shapes the state. Now if you see in your exam, they have given in the same order in your GS2 paper, but these topics they kept in general studies 1 paper, geography, history, and society, whereas the state, that is dealing with polity, constitution, governance, social justice, IR, they kept in GS2. Now it is again the state which is going to define your economy. Okay, what kind of economy you wanted, or whether your economy is prospering, whether your economy is not functioning well, what are the challenges. Now everything is decided not by your geography, but by your economics, but by your state. So always see, this is something in GS3 paper. Okay, so it is a geography which determines geography which determines history, history which determines society, and it is a society which is going to determine the state. Now only if you are clear about the purpose of or the working of the state, then only you'll be able to appreciate the economic principles or the way the economy is being changed in the country. Earlier there used to be a notion that it is the geography which decides economy. It is the geography which decides economy, but many scholars have found that it is not so. You will see ample examples in the real world today. For example, can you tell me which continent in the world is the most continent in terms of natural, Africa? Yeah, very good. So if you see that countries like Africa, yeah, right. So continents like Africa, they are having the maximum amount of rich resources, but the irony is the poorest of the continents. Okay, I hope you would have noticed that. Now why it is happening like that? Okay, despite having maximum amount of natural resources, why there are challenges in its economy. Now this is something which we need to understand. Now the same thing which would happen in various countries in West Asia. If you know, in various countries in West Asia, they do have a lot of oil. Okay, they do have a lot of oil. Now despite all this, okay, the challenges in West Asia, they are not as rich as they can be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not visible. Just let me give me a moment. I'll reconnect it. Yeah, thanks.
Bharat, slide is not visible.